Hey VC, what's up? It's me, yours truly. I'm back to post another quick video here. This is actually going to be a video response to Travisrobinson179, his thread that he recently put up. It is a thread that we've done. I think we've done it a couple of times. I think it's one of those great questions that will just continue to come up over the years in the VC. But it's always a good one to reflect on again. It was just kind of your favorite album covers. Just, show a few, share why, all that good stuff. And like a lot of these questions, when they do come up again, you can see how some of your answers may change, some things stay the same, and so forth. So just want to kind of jump on board, do a quick response, and as always, let me know what you think. Also, let me know, I got an iPad, and I've tried shooting a couple of videos with it. The last two, this will be the third one I've shot with it. Give me some feedback and let me know what the video quality is like. What I'm seeing when I play it back over here, it doesn't look as good as my other camera, but I also know when I was doing some filming before with a previous camera that I had, I was seeing a much better picture than other people were seeing. So anyway, just give me some feedback and let me know if this camera's okay, if it's better if I go back to the other one. But really quick here, not going to spend a ton of time. I did just kind of grab a number of them. I wasn't, thinking or anything. I didn't get to a couple of sections. I really didn't touch my 80s R&B that much. I really didn't dive into my hip hop. So there's a number of sections I just kind of was like, man, maybe I'll do a second video and do that. But these are the ones that kind of came right off the bat, while also trying to avoid ones that I've shown before and ones that a lot of people would kind of automatically put in a greatest covers category, like your Kiss Destroyer and Roxy Music Avalon is one that I've used quite a bit myself. A couple of Blondie's, Joan Jett, and a few others that I just always pick out. So anyway, here we go. I'll give you kind of a real brief explanation of why I really like, or the album cover is kind of impactful. Number one, I know you guys heard me talk about this one before, which is washed out, within and without. And always the best explanation I put with this is the essence of this album cover is completely captured in the music. So that's why I love that one to death. It's just so matches with the feel that I get from the music. Another one here, which is just strictly by the beauty of the colors and the woman herself, which is Annie Lennox. I cannot talk tonight. Diva. Absolute beautiful album cover. Not to mention she was a beautiful woman as well. You can easily pick Holy Diver, but for this time I picked Dio, Dream Evil. I've always liked this album cover just because if you really stare at it and pay attention to what's going on in that little girl's room, it is creepy as heck. With the little demon person up here doing something, this claw hand coming from underneath the bed, this cat with, these red eyes and some serpent tail coming. It's like, and not to mention the, thing outside her window. Really creepy cover when you start to kind of actually pay attention to it. So I picked up from an impactful standpoint. Of course, Sepultura Roots, that's another one I would pick as one of my favorite album covers. Again, I think the impact of this is one of those covers where no matter what type of music you listen to, I almost tend to think anyone walking through a record store that saw this would automatically gravitate towards it, whether you're a metalhead, exclusively a jazz fan or whatever else. This is the type of cover and artwork that would just catch your attention enough to go, what is that album? So again, just kind of impactful is why I like that one. Cat Power, Sun. Something about the purple shade on this album has caught my attention since the first day it was released. I remember walking by it in the music store for a number of weeks before I ever bought it. Just every time that color just completely drew me in. I don't know why. It's almost like a piece of candy sitting there that you just kind of had to have. This one I almost picked for silliness factor. This Will Destroy You. Looks like something you find in a gas station on a cross-country trip somewhere. But when I originally bought this album, I heard it on CD first, and the CD was just kind of plain black with a little gold trim around it. So when they ordered the album for me and it came in, and they handed me this, and I'm like, this isn't what I ordered. But then they were like, no, that's the album. And we compared the track list, and I was like, yeah, that's the same album. Just the vinyl has this crazy, silly cover to it. So from kind of a silly standpoint, I choose that one as one of my favorites. Choose this is one of my favorites just because Lenny is the coolest cat on the face of the earth. Only dude that could pull off red cowboy boots and make it look cool as hell. So that's Lenny. Just about any cover featuring Bo Diddley or Chuck Berry is pretty much going to be one of my favorite album covers. I consider one of the kings of rock and roll. This is probably my favorite Bo Diddley album cover. I mean, that's just the essence of where a lot of it began for me. Sade, Love Deluxe, absolute fabulous album, and again, an album cover that completely captures the essence of the album. Very, very cool. And back to the girl Annie again. I mean, I know she tried to kind of always be the slightly different alternative. I always felt like she wanted to be weird. And of course, I don't know her personally, if anything, but I just always got that impression from her, and I always kind of felt like she was too damn beautiful to be alternative weird. She couldn't, you know. And again, that's just my own little perception without knowing anything about her background or anything. But I mean, again, she was just a beautiful woman. Great features, great personality in terms of her presence as a musician. Really, really cool. 80s at its best. Pat Benatar. And really, I could pick her first 5 albums and say all 5 of those album covers are some of my favorites. Love Pat. Don't have to explain why this one is a classic. I mean, that's just impactful, awesome, period. This is one that's just always, it's probably the bright red from it, but this B-52, or B-52s, I'm sorry, Wild Planet, I've always loved this. It's one of my favorite CD covers, and it's one of my favorite vinyls. Just something about that shot with them and that red, it's just, something just really captured in that with me. The simplicity of the Paco Legend. Again, it's one of those covers that just caught my eye literally for a couple of years before I even bought or listened to the album. But every time I saw this, I always gravitated towards it in some way, shape, or form. So the simplicity of that. Again, just kind of another classic shot there, I think, with Paul Simon. So when I thought about doing this video, this is one of the album covers that immediately shot in my mind. And for whatever strange reason, this is one of those album covers that has always given me the creeps. Just like Roxy Music's Avalon, where most people, I think, when they look at that, they probably don't see something that's creepy. Probably the exact same thing with this. But Mike Oldfield's Tubular Bells, I don't know why, but from the first time I saw this album cover, something about it just gets on my nerves, and I don't know why. I think it's maybe something with those tubes like coming in over the ocean like that. It's maybe kind of the whole like you know, on a beach by yourself, UFO comes out of nowhere. I think there's some kind of vibe subconsciously going on with that. Maybe that's why it creeps me out a bit. Another great one. I love this cover. Nancy Sinatra's Boots. Great album too. Really, some really good stuff on here. And anytime you have some of these retro type of albums where especially when the ladies are wearing styles that are kind of definitely back in today, those album covers become more and more impactful. And Lord knows, you know, during the winter months around here, you cannot go anywhere without seeing women these days with jeans or tights with some type of riding boot on. I mean, that's obviously the fad that's back in. I remember this past Christmas when I was out at the mall, you know, number of times that I went, and it's just like every single woman in the mall had on freaking riding boots, and I'm just like, geez, don't have to completely jump on every single bandwagon, but styles are styles. I mean, I know how that is. Simon and Garfunkel, Sound of Silence. Another very, very classic album cover. And for whatever reason, Garfunkel's shoes always captured me in this photo for whatever reason. I don't know why. And again, I think that kind of goes back to some of those styles that have really kind of come back. Kind of the same thing there. And probably my favorite Beatles album cover, Rubber Soul. Something about the texture of this album cover, as well as Lennon's jacket, the texture and the color of that brown, and it's always jumped out at me with this album cover. So I feel something every time I see that one. Another classic Power cover. I mean, again, I have to explain this one, but Rainbow. It's Rising. That's an absolute classic there. Hendrix. I've always thought this is a really cool cover, mainly because it's so simple, but yet it still kind of catches the, with the way they have the colors on there, kind of the psychedelic feel that Hendrix brings to the table. And then this is just kind of representative of a lot of different album covers, because when it comes to the Blue Note album covers, there's literally hundreds of those I could pick out to say they'd be one of my favorites. So I just kind of picked one to represent them all, and this is one of my favorites, which is Lee Morgan, The Cooker. So awesome. I love those Blue Note covers. Those are all absolute classic. And last two, I should say, John Coltrane. Simplicity of that album cover again. Just like the man is so great, he doesn't need all of the stuff going on. It's just Coltrane and sax. That's all you need. So love that one. And the very last one, Coltrane, Love Supreme. And I've always kind of, you know, I shouldn't say always, but with the context of this question, because I've used this album as an answer to this question before, always kind of debated, was it really an awesome album cover, or is it just because you love the album so much you're calling it an awesome cover? And so, you know, I kind of stewed on that for a second or two and decided, no, it's an awesome album cover, plain and simple. So, matter of fact, I actually have a very nice piece by Elizabeth Nicole Photography of this particular album cover. I have to show that in the video sometimes, because I don't think I've shared that one with you guys before, but it's up on my wall. So absolute classic, definitely one of my favorite album covers right there. So there you go, man. Just wanted to, like I said, do a really quick video just to share my response to your thread. Let me know what you think, and I might actually do a second video just to dive into some of the other parts of my collection I didn't get to pull stuff out in. Oh, playing in the background. Sorry. Gun. 1969. Kind of some psychedelic classic rock type stuff. Really good stuff. Nice copy of it too. I got it for $1 at a record show one time, which was really awesome. So yeah, those are some of my favorite album covers. Maybe one more I can share. I'm just saying this because it's kind of sitting right here. But Wild Nothing, this may be kind of for slightly different reasons, but Wild Nothing, Nocturne, really cool album. I mean, great album, period, great band. But this one is kind of cool just because this is more about the function of the cover. You see how you have that pattern right there? You can go right into the front here, and there are a number of different cards that come within the album. So at any point in time, you could pull out like a different card, slide it to the front, and change the album cover. So again, not so much the picture, but just kind of a, you know, cool cover there. So anyway, thanks for watching, VC, and we will talk to you guys and gals soon.